Welcome back to our video series. Now we've covered most of the basics of defining your measurement questions and gathering data. We're now going to look at the most important question of all. How do you ensure this information is used to manage your program? So I think the purpose of using data is clear to many of us. Programs using the DCED standard typically work in complex environments. It's not clear at the beginning whether or how your intervention will be successful. As the cartoon quite nicely shows, looking on an ongoing basis at your monitoring data allows you to avoid pitfalls, pick up new ideas, and also to change your interventions or drop them if they're not going to work. So it sounds really straightforward and common sense, but it's actually very difficult for organizations to use their data to manage their programs for a whole host of reasons around organization culture, systems, and leadership. There's a huge amount of thinking that has gone into this area and how to improve your culture, how to improve your leadership. And these are really critical, probably the most important way to improve your ability to use information. We do have a lot of guidance on our website. We've got a lot of case studies looking at precisely this issue. But in this toolkit, we're going to focus on a much more narrow issue. We're going to look at some of the systems and processes that you need to implement for adaptive management. And we're going to concentrate on a single process, which is often really essential for organizations as they try to learn from results. We're going to look at how you can use regular review meetings. So I hope this video is helpful, but please also bear in mind it's not enough by itself. It's not a comprehensive introduction to the use of results. Go and check out our other case studies and guidelines on the culture you need to instill in your organization and the leadership that can help bring it there. So why focus on review meetings in this video? Review meetings are essential for the use of results. You need to have a space and time where results can be discussed, agreed, argued about, and acted upon. But doing this in practice is really difficult. Some organizations find it very time-consuming. How do you make decisions quickly and efficiently? Others find it difficult to find any time at all among a busy work schedule, reporting, and so on. And including everyone's voices is essential to good decision-making, but how to do it is not always obvious. So regularly scheduled review meetings are essential for giving the time to discuss your interventions and come to conclusions. So let's start with presenting an agenda for what could be discussed. Firstly, look at the facts. What's actually happening? Are changes happening as expected? If not, at what level of the results chain did change stop happening? Did you achieve your outputs but not your outcomes, or your outcomes but not your impact? Exactly where in the results chain did you observe or not observe change? The second point is analysis. What explains these changes you've observed? For example, you might look at why the intervention activities led or didn't lead to the changes in the market system you were expecting. You might look at why there was a change in enterprise performance, how sustainable this is likely to be, whether your change addresses gender considerations, and so on. The aim is to really understand the story behind the facts which you presented in the first section. Next, you go to decisions. What should we do next? So your decision might just be that we don't yet have enough information, so we need to go out and get more information. If so, how, who does it, and so on. If you feel you have enough information to make a decision, then you can talk about what. How will your strategy or tactics be changed? Do you need to expand an intervention or drop an intervention? And finally, look at the wider learning. What have you learned from your work in the last 3 or 6 months? How will you apply this learning? What are the key lessons learned? Is there anything relevant from one intervention or one sector which should be shared more broadly across your organization? So an important starting question is at what level you use data. A lot of projects have 3 different levels of data usage, and so this is what we're going to focus on in this lecture, though it does vary from program to program, so if yours doesn't fit entirely into this structure, just tailor it to your approach. So a common starting point is the intervention level. And an intervention is a specific project. Clear target group, clear partner, clear objective. Maybe partnering with a seed company or setting up farmer groups or advocating to government. Exactly what you do obviously varies from intervention to intervention. These are often grouped into sectors, and a sector might be a commodity or a value chain, like garments, vegetables, or forestry. And finally, a portfolio is made up of several sectors, and this is your overall program. So we can talk about learning and decision making at the intervention level, at the sector level, or at the portfolio level. So let's start at the intervention level. This is where you spend most of your time. This is the key to day-to-day work, setting up interventions which work with partners to achieve specific results. So regular intervention review meetings give you some time aside from the day-to-day challenges of program management and administration to reflect on the extent to which you're achieving your goals. You need to set aside specific times for intervention review meetings, not to be changed or tampered with. Most programs do this on a quarterly or semi-annual basis. Frequently enough to spot any problems, but not so frequently that you just spend your time discussing, administration, contracting issues. It gives you time to look more strategically at the intervention. And during these meetings, you can review the MRM data. You can look at your assumptions and results chains and assess the extent to which you're meeting your expectations and why this is. So as an input, you need to have this updated data, updated results chains. As an output from this meeting, you want to update your intervention documents. If you change your intervention, your results chain should be changed. And you want to document your decisions. Do you change your intervention? Do you scale it up if it's successful or drop it if it's not successful? The same logic happens at the sector level. You won't do this as frequently, but on a semi-annual or annual basis, you want to step back from your interventions themselves and look at the overall sector. You might have multiple interventions in a sector, so these sector review meetings are a chance to look at, are they jointly achieving the objectives you want? For example, let's say you work in the potato sector. Maybe one intervention works on seed, one intervention on good agronomic practices, one intervention on fertilizer. So in your sector review meetings, you can look at this set and say, are they enough to raise incomes? Are you missing an important support function? Is there a key regulatory barrier that you should be addressing? As an input, you need to understand your interventions well, so you need your updated results chains. And as an output, you would change your sector strategy and look at ideas for new interventions. And finally, you want to look at the overall portfolio. And again, you take a step back, you kind of zoom your lens back. You say, to what extent are we meeting our overall program targets? Are we working in the right way in the right sectors? And so this is for very high level decisions about portfolio management. Do you want to drop sectors? Maybe potatoes is completely the wrong thing to be working in. Do you want to start in new ones? Again, this happens less frequently, annually, biannually. And the key input here is for aggregated results across your portfolio. There's no point in bringing data from one intervention. You need to know what the entire portfolio has achieved and what it expects to achieve, and generally whether it meets your targets. So bear in mind that exactly how you do these meetings will vary significantly from organisation to organisation. In my last organisation, we didn't really follow this three-part structure. We merged all the meetings into one, which had an advantage that it was a bit easier to get everyone together, had a disadvantage that it took longer, was a bit less focused. So think about what works for you. How often these meetings are held, how long they take, who should attend. All of these will vary according to your particular context. And finally, you can download much more detailed agendas for these meetings and guidance in the link beneath the video. Thanks to the 3 consultants who made these documents for kindly making it available to use, Ali, Hans and Picha. And plus thank you to the projects who contributed their ideas and examples to this guidance. And as always, you can find more information and guidance on using results to manage your programs elsewhere on our website.